Please don't crash. Please don't. Yes, I know.
Retard.
Oh my god! That's. Hello everybody, welcome to Chaz Draycott Media and welcome to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today we're on the ground at Heathrow Airport in London, one of the busiest and biggest airports in the world, and today we're going to be flying to one of the, I don't want to say most treacherous, but one of the most difficult to land at airports in the world. We're going from Heathrow to Madeira today as Speedbird 6 Charlie Delta, and this is one of the chartered flights from my website that you can also do yourself. There's going to be a link in the description for this, but we are chartered to fly to Madeira today. Now, let me just get this out of the way. This is a lot longer than the flights that I would like to have chartered on my website, but this is a bit of a one-off because I've wanted to fly to Madeira and learn the approach and everything for a long time now, so this gives me a good opportunity. I've wanted to use Heathrow for a while, so I've let this one go and I've said, look, you know, I really want to do this. And a big thank you must go out to Jose Vieira, who is the guy that chartered this flight for me today. Thank you, Jose. Really looking forward to getting this one underway. I will be utilising a little bit of the sim speed up, so I'll be changing the sim rate to 4 times while in the cruise, because it's about a 4-hour flight, I think this is. I've not got that long today, so I need to sort of speed it up while we're in the cruise, but obviously that's the bit that's not as interesting for you guys to watch. So you will notice that I utilise a little bit of that, but still, really looking forward to getting this going. We're in the FlyByWire Airbus A320neo today. This is Golf Tango Tango November Romeo. It is a lovely bit of kit, and I'm delighted to be back in the Neo once again, especially after last time in this video where the 737 made me look like a moron. Now, to be honest, that was down to me making myself look a moron, wasn't it? I made a few mistakes. Let's just get the charts and everything up on here. We need to unload the previous flight, and we need to get the Simbrief flight up on here. This is today's flight then, all the way down here. Now, this is the approach into Madeira, so let me just get this. It is this one, I believe. We're going to go for that. And look, you just have to visually go around. It's really weird, this approach, but it's a visual one. I think the last one that I did was sort of from up here. It was further this way. It's definitely not that shorter runway. It's just the approach that's difficult, so we'll have to wait and see. I'm going to research the go-around procedures a bit more while I'm in the air and while I'm actually in cruise to see what we've got. Anyway, we need to get this puppy started, so we need to go batteries 1 and 2 on. We need to put the external power on, and then we put the APU master switch on, then start, and then APU bleed, the crew oxygen supply, adheres to nav in the top left. I always do left, right, and then center. I'm not quite sure if that's particularly a right way to go about doing it. I've lost where I'm up to. Strobe goes to auto, nav and logo light. I always tend to put on 2 if I can. Seatbelts, no smoking signs, and emergency exits armed. Cool. Fire tests for the engines. Yep, I remember in the fly-by-wire it beeps instantly, but in the real aircraft and in the Phoenix it takes time. You hold it down and then it starts beeping after a little bit of time. Fuel pumps all need to come on. We're just going to set the fuel in the aircraft before we get going. And then we have the flight directors which come on, fuel quantity check, baro set, and then the MCDU. Okay, lovely. What I am going to also do first is go into the fly-by-wire installer. And I'm going to put the FSLTL injector on today. I'm not doing this flight on VATSIM. I do have scenery at both ends. I think this is the Asobo sort of handcrafted Heathrow that I'm using. I've not got the Builds one, but I have managed to get myself the Madeira scenery at the other end as well, which looks quite tasty. So we're going to get the FSLTL injector running. Brings up this window here. I changed the settings on this recently, so I don't want to change those now. And it should populate the aircraft, or the airfield I should say, with some aircraft. It's popped one in there next to us, and another Swiss A220 and some more Speedbird A320s, so it's not going to be ridiculously busy. There's not going to be a huge amount going on and a huge aircraft sort of number moving around, but it just adds a little bit more life to the airport, I think, when you're doing it online, and when you're not doing it online, I should say. And of course, it means that you maybe have to avoid a few things, but I don't know, without using the in-game ATC, which I'm not going to be doing, then it's, you know, just, I can't think of how to explain it better. It just adds more life to the airport, basically, rather than be flying into or landing at somewhere that's completely barren of any planes. So we need to get our data from the flypad. We need to also remove the coffee, so you all know I hate coffee. And okay, so fuel and payload is imported. It's all imported it straight away, basically. I'm going to do this in here. So we'll do fast refueling time, and we'll also do fast boarding time as well. Do I get GSX? Yeah, we do want GSX, don't we? Come on. Let's not be silly. Apparently it's outdated, which is really annoying. Get the jetway to come over, and then we'll get some boarding underway. I don't have a profile for this airport, though, so that may not look fantastic. Let's just check the Barrow while we're here, while that's doing it. 1017. We're doing a very early morning start here. It's nearly, well, it's 5 AM UTC. We're going for a 5:20 AM departure, so we're going to get a sunrise flight here, so these conditions should be pretty tasty. Let's request boarding now, shall we, from GSX. While that's all underway, we're going to start planning in everything on the MCDU down here. So we go to FMGC, we go to init and do an init request. My friend Dan showed me recently that you don't have to go to AOC menu or any of that. It literally just brings it in from here. We put the 0 fuel weight in. We need to check our block fuel today. I've got that over here on SimBrief. It's 10.4 today. That's quite a lot, actually. But then again, I don't really do flights this long all the time, so it's going to seem a little bit more than normal. Flight plan on EGLL departure. We are going for the Gogsy 2 Foxtrot departure. 27 right, Gogsy 2 Foxtrot.
Boarding completed.
Wow, okay. Then again, that's the fly-by-wire boarding. For Madeira, we're going to have the Lidro 1 Papa arrival. Are we on Yankee or Zulu? Zulu. Just pop that in here. Oh, there it was. Lidro 1 Papa. Via Pilim, I remember we put on there. Or did we? Yes, Pilim. See, I'm a good boy, I know this. Okay, we are going to have flaps 1 for takeoff. Flex the temp, I'm going to put 65. I tend to always put that. Then do we get V-speeds? Yes, 135 today for the V-speeds. A lot of the time in the Neo we're about 120 odd. But yeah, boarding is now underway, and we should be ready to go pretty soon. Don't think it's that busy with bags on that side of the aircraft, it seems, because there's only one of the cargo doors open as well on the side, which seems very strange, but oh well, it is what it is. We're going to put the squawk code 2000 in today, just the NATO code for basically meaning that you've not been given a code otherwise. What else do we need to do then? We've got the MCDU pretty much all plumbed in, haven't we? Takeoff data and everything's all set, so let's get the initial altitude in. We're supposed to do that a little bit later, I think, but I want to get that in now. The Gogsy departure, 6,000 feet on departure, so we're going to pop that in down here on the right. Beautiful. Yeah, I think pretty much now we just wait for boarding, and then we can sort ourselves out for pushback, it looks like. Yeah, we got the fuel quantity set in the aircraft. Do we have 10.4? We do, yeah. Okay, nice. Right, well, I'm happy. Let's just wait for boarding to be completed, shall we? Just having a look around the airfield, it has popped in quite a few other aircraft. I want to do a little bit of plane spotting at this point. We've got an Aegean, I think an A321neo just on the gates behind us. There's a bunch of heavies over here. There's some British Airways aircraft. There's a 787, Turkish A330. Whose is that? Is that Royal Brunei? Yes, it is. Brunei 787, an LL78 in the special livery. Delta A330. What else is there? I saw, is there a Qatar A380 over there? Where is it? There. Is it? Yes, Qatar A380. Qatar apparently own Heathrow. I didn't know that for a long, long time, but apparently if you see Qatar landing on a different runway to what everyone else is landing on, that's because they own the joint and they can do what they want with it. We've got a United 787, Aero Mexico 787, one of the best liveries on a 78, Aero Mexico. Bitman Bangladeshian 787, British Airways 777, a Rwanda A330neo, I think, or is it just a 300 down there? What was this as well? A Vistara 787, that's pretty. Very pretty. 787s are classy looking aircraft. I do enjoy them, but not the same as an A350. Speaking of, where are all the A350s? I don't tend to see one around here. That is a Malaysian Airlines, funnily enough, an A350. Would you look at that? That is very pretty. The jetway's a bit of a mess and it's making it look awful, but still, that is Mucho tasty, that, innit? Anyway, we need to get back to our own aircraft in just a second. It's a Turkish 777. Press one button and then we'll fly back to the FlyByWire A320neo that we're going to be flying today. I think boarding will be completed in just a moment's time anyway, so let's hop back up into the cockpit and get ready. Okay, and that bong there means that we are ready to go. So what we'll do is start getting the aircraft prepared for pushback, and then we'll get out of here from Heathrow, I suppose. So we will head up to GSX and prepare for pushback and departure. Let's just check where we're going to be going, actually, because this is a large airport at Heathrow, as you all know, I'm sure. Jetway is disappearing now, so we're on 27 right, which is the runway all the way down there. So we're pushing back onto Alpha. Let's go all the way down. We'll go down Bravo. We'll go all the way down Bravo, get to the end, and maybe, yeah, we'll go left there on Lima. Should we take full length? Let's do Alpha 4. Bravo, Lima, Pluto, Alpha 4. Okay. Oh, I just need to check as well. I've not set my controls up to be for this aircraft. I'm still on the 737-800 profile that I've got. I changed the axis for the nose wheel steering for the 737 because the 737 seemed to be like you turn it a tiny little bit and it just goes wham to the left or the right. So with this, it's a little bit heavier of an aircraft, so you can be a bit more sort of, I don't know, not careless with it, but you can lob it about on the ground a little bit more from a stick's perspective anyway. So Tug is making its way up, and then we will see now a beauty shot or two. I can't get my words out this morning. I'm doing this a bit early. It's only 9:30 in the morning. I feel shattered. So yeah, let's just go outside and look at it. And we're going to go nose right, tail left, and then he should begin the push. Yeah, let's take the parking brake off. And here we go. Oh, we didn't put the beacon light on. That's a naughty one, isn't it?
Flight attendants, armed doors, and cross-check.
Bit late for that, love. Okay, let's actually get some engine started, shall we? So we put the engine starter switch into ignition and we'll start engine number 2. Pop the parking brake on. Gorgeous conditions here. I mean, look at the sky as it sunrises here. As it sunrises, great English, Chaz. Really beautiful conditions. Dead excited for this flight. Get to see some beautiful weather as we get going. Little click in the background that you heard there was the engine buses changing over. The electric buses changing over from the APU to the engines. We're now going to start engine number 1, the left engine.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear, right is clear.
Okay, so now we can get ready for taxi. So let's just do the before taxi checklist. We want to set the flaps, arm the speed brakes. We want then to turn the APU bleed and master switch off. Bleed off. Master switch off. Anti-ice checked. ECAM status checked. Pitch trim set. Rudder trim. Runway turn off lights come on when we get there. Nose light to taxi. And then, yeah, we'll do a brake test when we get moving. So let's crack on, shall we? Let's turn the engine mode thing back to the centre. Parking brake is coming off. And to be fair, the FlyByWire A320neo does roll forward on idle power, so it will move on its own. We'll just do a quick brake test. Yep, all golden. Let's get going, shall we? I'm dead excited for this. Really, really excited. I have had the sudden realisation as well that when I got the Madeira scenery, there was a note to say that you have to disable the standard flight sim scenery. I'm not sure if I'll have to restart the sim after doing that, but I've forgotten to do it. So hopefully it doesn't cause us a major issue. Apparently there's just a little step on the runway somewhere, so we'll see when we get there, because I've put too much time in now to go back. And you all know what it's like, flight sim, when you've got a lot of add-ons and stuff for it. It takes about 4 years to start. We're putting auto brakes on max. We're going to check the cabin, give them a quick call. Big ding dong. Takeoff config test is normal. So Yeah, we're all ready, all good to go. And we're going to be going right onto Bravo now, and then we're going to go all the way down to Lima, when we're going to take a left, then get on Alpha, and then we're going to turn right. I think the holding point is called Pluto. I haven't used any of my scratch pad at this moment in time. I'm trying to sort of maybe not use them unless I'm on VATSIM, but I'm not using one for this flight at the moment. I will be on Volanta. I am on Volanta, and if you want to add me on there, then please do so. I think my username on there is just Chaz Draycott Media, all as one word. But look at these conditions as we taxi out of Heathrow here. Lovely, lovely conditions. There's a lot of cloud high up, but we've got a great sunrise going on. We've got some heavies over here that we were looking at just earlier. It's nice having even just the static aircraft there. You know, Heathrow would be crazy busy at this time of morning, but at the moment it's very, very chill, because I've not set it to have many active aircraft moving around. It's a lot more CPU intensive like that, and as you all know, I've not got the best PC in the world, so it can't really hack too much. The United 787 there, not really a huge fan of that livery on that aircraft. I think United livery at the moment is it's a bit dull, it's a bit boring. So it's a bit of a long taxi, and as you go down Bravo, there's a bit of a chicane in it. You can just see it up ahead here. Look, it goes sort of left and right a little bit, and then we get all the way down to the far end. Hopefully Big Jet TV isn't at the end ready to film me and shout at me. I do definitely need to do another day of plane spotting down at Heathrow. I keep saying it. I've been saying it for months now that I want to go back up there, or down there I should say. I'm up near Manchester Airport, for any of you that didn't already know, and I love spending a good day there, just taking down Regis and being a massive geek, because I just love it. But Heathrow is a fantastic day for it. Constant aircraft coming in, to be honest. The variation in aircraft that you see as well. You do see a lot of British Airways A320s. I think I've got at least 100 of those now, and it's pretty crazy. But yeah, there's a great variation of aircraft that come in. If you like British Airways 777s as well, you're in for a treat. And American ones too. Where's that Lima that we've just gone past? I think we've just gone past it, haven't we? No. Oh my god, we are nowhere near where we're going. Lima is that one. So it's our second right is Lima. A little bit off the centre line for a second there. It's kicking off at me that predicted wind shear's off, so we're going to pop that on. Not even close the cabin door. You can shut up back there. 28 knots at the moment on ground speed. It's about 30 knots is the limit everywhere, as far as I know, for ground taxi speeds. I need to stop sitting on my leg as well. I sit with my legs crossed on this chair and it really hurts my thighs. So we've got a right here, have we? No, this is the first of the two rights. We are going to hold short for a second, then sort all the lights and everything out, and then roll onto the runway. I don't think it's very often at Heathrow where you'd taxi straight on. Will that tell us that it's... yeah, Lima to the right, so we're going left here, and then right, and then we're going to get on at Alpha 4. Can we even go that way? There's no line to say we can go that way. Gonna do it anyway. That's interesting. Not sure if you're not allowed on this way or what. There's almost a rise in the taxiway as well. That's really weird. What's that about? Is that a conflict of scenery or something? Then this should be Alpha 4. Yes, Pluto is this holding point here. So we're going to turn left onto Alpha 4. Now this is a high-speed exit for when you're landing the other way. So maybe you shouldn't really go on here like this. But we're going to hold short here on this tight angle. It's all good because we're offline. Don't worry about it. Okay, so before takeoff checklist, initial altitude is set at 6,000 feet. Predicted wind shear is on. We're going to put this on TA and RA. And then we're going to put the terrain on the ND. I don't think that's operational in the fly-by-wire. The button is, but it doesn't seem to do anything. Auto brakes to max. We've done all the rest of it. Transponder auto or on. Landing lights on, nose light to take off. Strobe light auto on. And then it's just lights, basically. So we go up here. We put the landing lights on. We put the nose light to take off. We put the strobe light to on. Runway turn-offs go on. And yeah, as far as I know, we're ready. It's not the first time I've flown out of Heathrow. I think the first time I used these Thrustmaster TCA controls was a flight out of Heathrow in the FlyByWire A320neo as well, actually. Really looking forward to this. It's going to be a long, long flight, this one. Like I say, 4 hours block time. I think the air time is 3 hours 15 minutes. Obviously, I'm going to speed the sim up once we get to cruise altitude, and then we'll get on with it. So we'll roll on. Give it a steep turn to the left. Excuse me, that's the only thing with the Airbus, is when you wind off the steering, it takes ages to do it. Right then, up to 50%. Engines will spool up. We'll straighten the aircraft up once it's spooled. All good. Let's go, shall we? Okay. didn't quite get into flex there for a second. Man flex 65 SRS runway, auto thrust is blue. 80 knots already, trying to stay on the centre line as best I can. We're at flaps 1, 100 knots. 120 knots. V1, rotate. Very smooth. Positive rate gears coming up. That was a really smooth rotation. Right to the flight director on the screen below. Goodbye, Heathrow. That's a cool shot. Look at all the heavies. Cool. Frame rate's not fantastic, but it is what it is. Lever should go into climb any moment now. Little thing down here on this screen will flash at me. I think I need to sort my throttle detents out because it doesn't seem to think I'm in flex. Either that or I've pushed it a bit hard. Lever into climb. Don't need to be climbing as steeply now. I need to just point the nose down a little bit. Missed that on the flight director. It's a pretty straightforward departure out of here. We're then going to take a little bit of a left turn now. The aircraft really shallowly wants us to turn left. Now we're going to really gain some speed. Ground spoilers need to be unarmed. Or disarmed, I should say. What else? After takeoff, land gear up, flaps retracted, packs on, speed brakes disarmed, nose light and runway turn off lights need to be sorted out as well. Keep the landing lights on, of course. We're up to S speed now, so flaps up. Drew told us that you turn the seatbelt signs off and on again really quickly to release the cabin crew, and then we'll pop the autopilot in, shall we? Nice! Really big fan of that departure. It looks great as well. Look at these conditions as the sun rises over the southeast of the UK. Pleased with that. Really clean departure. Big fan. Let's have a quick beauty shot outside, shall we? Very pretty. Let's pull the HPA to standard. We need to keep an eye on where we're at in terms of our departure. So it's when we get to Gogsy that we can climb from 6,000 feet, or up to cruise anyway. It should have the restriction in there. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Gogsy, flight level 60, it's not above or below. So what I could maybe do is actually tell the aircraft now to go up to cruise altitude, which is 35,000 feet today. And it will stick to the restriction if we make sure we push that. The aircraft's going to manage it. You can see the purple there is altitude constraint. It's going to climb a little bit to 6,000 feet. I think we are all golden. So everything I think is good. Seatbelt signs I'm going to keep on until we turn the landing lights off at 10,000 feet. We go over to the other side of the checklist and it's literally just landing lights, seatbelts. Yeah, and then you begin your descent. So this is the long bit now before we get up to cruise altitude. I never started the chrono because I'm a massive idiot. It's one of those tiny things you forget. It's not actually written on the checklist. So let's go to flight plan. Yeah, I think we're all good. No discontinuities. So now we sit at 6,000 for a minute before we get to climbing. Okay, so we're just about to hit that waypoint at Gogsy now. So the aircraft any second will begin to climb. We'll hear those engines spool up and we'll be on our way up to 35,000 feet. We're cost index 25 today, so it's not really being too reserved on fuel. Like I say, 10.4 tons we put in the aircraft before we got going. So keep your eye on that. Look, it's holding the altitude constraint. It's got a climb lined up next. That's what it means by having it in blue. And any moment now that will change. This will go to CLB. The throttles will spool up and we'll be good to crack on. And there you go. Changes to thrust, climb and climb. So let's go and listen. Beautiful. Well, this is going really well. Just checking everything on my controls is all good. And yeah, very, very happy with this so far. Quite a cool climb there as well. 3,500 feet a minute up by the look of it. Don't think there's anything else to report, to be honest with you. We are all golden at this point. The eagle-eyed of you would have noticed there was a little aircraft actually underneath us in one of those previous shots. So clearly I do have a few aircraft on here that are sort of VFR, as they're known in the FSLTL injector, where it does have them moving around and actually operating. So I'll keep my eye out for that. As you can see here is the plan. We aimed to leave at 5:20 Zulu. I think we pushed back a little bit after that. It's now 5:36 Zulu, but we will land at 9:25 Zulu. These conditions are stunning. This is on scattered clouds, the standard preset in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I think I've got the lighting pretty spot on here in terms of when to start this flight. Really, really do love a sunrise or a sunset flight. Just adds so much more to it. I like flying in the middle of the day when you can see. I do enjoy flying at night sometimes, but I like to look at the scenery and sort of enjoy where I am. The seatbelt signs are going to come off now, as well as landing lights, because we have surpassed 10,000 feet. So landing lights come off, seatbelt signs off as well. And I'm going to now enjoy the climb up to cruising altitude. Okay, everybody, we are about to reach our cruising altitude at 35,000 feet. We have been in the air for a good 20 minutes or so at the moment. I didn't start the chrono straight away. As you can see, this is the length of the flight so far. 3¼ hours we're going to be in the air, so still a long way to go. As I've mentioned, though, I'm going to cut a lot of the cruise out of this. I'm going to speed up the sim once we get to cruise altitude. We are now there, so maybe we're going to get a cabin announcement from the captain of the FlyByWire A320neo. Tends to happen once it levels out a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to cut a lot of the cruise out of the video. Obviously nothing happens at this height. It's going to be a few hours. I'm going to go away and do a little bit of work and so on before I then come back to the aircraft and start setting it up for the approach in a little bit. I'm really scared by the approach into Madeira. I'm so scared I'm going to get it wrong, or that something is not going to be quite right, but we'll see. And here he is. Oh.
We've just reached our cruising altitude for the flight, and begin to settle in. I do want to remind you to please keep your feet and elbows clear from the aisle, as the flight attendants will be coming through the cabin with galley cars shortly.
Not sure how well you can hear that.
Reminder to please refrain from congregating with the front galley where the flight deck door is located. Thank you.
Right, so we're at cruise. Going to enjoy it now. Going to go away and do a little bit of work for a bit. Yeah, hope you're enjoying the video so far. Thank you once again, Jose Vieira, for scheduling and chartering this one. Really do appreciate it. You too can charter flights on my YouTube channel. There's going to be a link in the description. I have also added the PMDG 737 and the Phoenix Airbus A320 recently, but there are parameters to it, so please do check them. There's a limit of 700 nautical miles, and I'd rather stick with either British or European airports. So obviously stick to those parameters, otherwise, you know, if you send the money in, I'll have to refund it, and obviously the flight won't happen. So please do check a lot of that first if you can before sending in a request for it. But thank you to those that have requested these flights so far. I've really enjoyed doing them, and I'll always make sure that I try and do them to the best of my ability and keep them entertaining for you guys, so thank you very much. Right then, we're about 20 minutes away from the top of descent, if I remember rightly. 8:33 it says on there. Yeah, about 23 minutes away. So we're going to now check all of the information for the actual airport itself, and obviously put that into the MCDU. Air pressure down there is 1021, so we want to go and put that in here. So it's 1021 on the QNH, and then the temperature is 22, and the wind speed is 10 at 16. Where's the flipping thing? 22, and then 10 at 16. Is that going to automatically pop the... Yes, good stuff. We need to go to the chart, so we need to check what the minimums are at the airport. We're Let's check all of this out, shall we? I don't know what I'm looking at because until MA552, so is that the what? Final approach course is 049. We can read that. There's all the radio frequencies and stuff. These are usually the minimums. Oh God. I'm gonna do, so radio is the ones in brackets, isn't it? Am we? Can't even do English now. I'm gonna go for 900 on there. I think you have to call minimums quite early at this airport anyway, because obviously it's a very, very interesting approach. More than a 180 degree sort of swoop turn in. I think the altitude that we're going to be at, if we go to the arrival chart, it's 4,000 and then 3,000 at Pilim. So when we put the approach in, we're going to do 3,000 at Pilim. Sorry, I'm not wording very well. Right, when we put the altitude in on here, we're going to put that in at 3,000 for Pilim. So it's going to just go down through the constraints all the way down there, and then we're going to get in and obviously do the visual approach. So we come in like this, across, and then here. That bit is all done sort of visually, really. We turn it at 526, then to 522. Is that in the aircraft? Will it manage that? 526, 522. Okay, let's just go to plan up here. Okay. So will the plane do a lot of that for me? It knows the altitude as well. Got to be above 1200 at 520. So maybe we put in 1,000 because it knows. Could we get the aircraft to do a lot of this for us? I don't want it to. I want to still fly the curve myself. I'm thinking of getting to sort of 180 degrees from the runway and then do it myself and hand fly it in. My friend Drew flies here a lot. Drew's appeared in a number of my YouTube videos before. You've all seen him. Going to be doing more videos with him and Dan in the future. 78 miles from top of descent, I believe. Yeah, we've still got a bit of time though to just enjoy ourselves then. I did speed up the sim for a little bit, but admittedly I've gone and done a little bit of work, so I actually put the sim back to real time for quite a bit, and we're just enjoying the cruise now, still at 35,000 feet. So yeah, a couple of beauty shots and then we'll start our descent soon. Just checking what else we've got to do before the descent, and there's literally nothing else really, to be honest with you. The only stuff that comes in really is that when we come down to landing, we've got to advise the cabin crew, bring the speed down, obviously auto brakes and everything gets set, flaps and so on. So it's just preparation for landing at that point. In terms of fuel, we've got 4.4 tons on board. The estimated fuel on board when we land is going to be 3.7. So obviously when we get into descent, the engines are going to idle like mad. Not going to use any fuel, but we've used nearly 6 tons of fuel during this flight. We're going to use more than that actually. We're going to use nearly 7 because we started with what, 10.4. So it's going to be what, 6.3? No? 6.7 tons of fuel we're going to have used, which is absolutely mental. I've enjoyed this. It's obviously I've been doing other stuff while I've been cruising, so it's not been that strenuous or anything, but I've enjoyed flying from Heathrow again. I know Heathrow's busy. It may not have been as busy because I didn't have as many aircraft about, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this landing in and trying to get this one right. Let's see if there's any charts for like a go around procedure or anything, because otherwise I know because I'm offline I'm just going to sort of go away from the airport and just come back in and try again. Let's see. Which approach are we on? Oh. Wait, are we... Oh, have I actually got the right approach in? No, this is the one we need. This is the visual approach. We're on RNAV, aren't we, currently? I did think that earlier. I was wondering why it said RNAV. Do we want VOR visual? I think we stick with this. Just for now. What's RNP visual approach? That's the one I'd done previously. 565 to 566, because you're not quite parallel with the runway. That's the one I've been practicing on. And then, yeah, with this one, you sort of come at it this way. I'd rather do this one. Just for now. I know I've gone on about it being a visual approach and so on. Is there like a go-around thing? Or does it say on here? I mean, we'll be at 049, so we'll just go past it. I don't know. Where would I find that? Maybe it is in procedures. I don't know. Am I being stupid? Probably. Oh well, it's fine, because we're going to land it first time. We will do it. So, we are 78 miles from top of descent, and yeah, I'll come back to you when we get there then. Just tracking the flight on Volanta now. You can see here that it's basically a long straight line all the way here. There's not really much in terms of like wiggling around in terms of the route. There's a bunch of other aircraft descending on La Palma. There seems to be a group of guys doing a flight here in 777s on their way in. We've also got this guy doing a flight in he's got an Iberia call sign, but that's Royal Air Maroc in a 787. He's actually put a screenshot up of it. That's quite nice, isn't it? We'll give that a like. And there's another aircraft coming in as well, actually. Mate in, a High Sky A320. That's quite cool, isn't it? He's coming from Henry Coanda International. Where is that? Oh my god. Wow. Bucharest. So he's had a really long flight, much longer than I. Well, obviously we're not on VATSIM, so we're not going to see these aircraft. But yeah, a few people coming in from all over. But that's us. 6 Charlie Delta. Not long to go now. We're going to be early by the look of it. 8:30 Zulu at present, and it says 9:25. Not quite sure why we're so early, but obviously we've got a while now from when we descend to actually landing the thing, so we'll see how long that takes. Oh, sorry, not 78. That's 0.78. I can't believe I got that wrong earlier. So we are now 19 miles on top of descent, and there it is, because we've got the screen on 20 miles, so it'll be starting soon. So we're going to pump this down to 1,000 feet. Which I can't quite believe I'm doing at this altitude. We're just going to let the aircraft deal with the constraints. I think it knows there's a constraint at 1010. Actually, no, that's 1,000 feet. Sorry, for some reason I thought that was 10,000 feet for a second there. And yeah, then we're going to start our descent into Madeira. I'm really nervous. Just because I know how infamous this airport is for being difficult to land at. But you know what? I've enjoyed this flight a lot. It's been very, very chill. It's just that the length of it, you know, it takes up a good chunk of time when my PC is being used and I can't use it for other stuff. Luckily, I've got my laptop, so I can do a limited amount of other work from there. But yeah, there is a limit. Been in the air 2 hours 44 minutes in the sim, and we will be in the air apparently, according to SimBrief, 3 hours 15. Block time is actually 3 hours 43, it says, because it's calculated the taxi in and the taxi out. That's another thing. We need to look at the stand that we're going to be on when we get in there, because there's only a few. Let's go for Alpha 8, shall we? That seems like a very late descent. I'm going to do it now. Get the aircraft to manage it. And we will begin to descend. We are, 123 miles away. So what was it Drew said? Times your altitude by 3. So what's that? 35. So it's 90, 105. Add 15. So yeah, 120. Can't argue with that. So we're now descending. We're a little bit above profile, but that's fine. You can hear the announcement. Okay, beginning to get nervous now. Thanks again, Jose Vieira, for chartering this flight. Really glad that I've been given this challenge. As mentioned, this will be the only flight of this length that we're going to be chartering, because this is a very long one to do. It takes up a good 4 hours of my day, but that's absolutely fine, because I've wanted to fly into here for a while, and I've wanted to fly out of Heathrow since putting the scenery on for a while as well. So we're now descending down into Madeira to get this approach underway. Just want to look as well at what our VAP is going to be, our approach speed. It's going to be 130 knots, so not bad. Higher than I've seen before. Transition altitude is 6,000 feet. That's when we go back into the local pressure. Drew told us in the past that you can sort of take this out of standard, put it into what it's going to be when it's on the ground, and then just quickly pull it back into standard. So we're going to do that. But yeah, we're about to start descending through some clouds now. It's quite a high amount of cloud around, but we'll break our way through that, and hopefully it's not that bad when we get in there. We're actually a little bit below profile at the moment, which is good to see. The aircraft is sort of leveling it out slightly. I think there's a bit of that because I just changed the pressure, so it's moved about a little bit in terms of the descent. We're nowhere near the Barber's Pole. We're doing some decent speed, so yeah, all pleased with how it's all going so far. We'll just continue on the descent. We are now 75 miles from the airport and we have dropped over 15,000 feet, so doing really well on this descent right now. In terms of Volanta, just bringing that on the screen, you can see that we are actually slotting in quite nicely behind this trio of 777s. I'm not quite sure what they think they're doing trying to land 777s there, but as I mentioned before, I suppose A330neo's landing I keep calling it La Palma because it's LPMA. I've flown to La Palma before and I love it there. Went on holiday there in 2022 and it's amazing, but that's GCLA, I think, the code for that airport, not LPMA, which is Madeira. But yeah, A330neos land at Madeira, so I suppose if a 777 can no. I can't word today. What I meant to say is if an A330neo can do it, I'm sure a 777 can do it as well. You should be able to get a 777 in there. The runway can cater for a lot more than an A330neo, I feel, just in case. I had a look at their heights as well, actually, and the aircraft just in front of us is at about 16,000 feet right now, so we're at 17. The others are at about 11 and 12, so we shouldn't be of any concern in terms of being too high. And at the end of the day, we can always slow the aircraft down a little bit if we need to. I've told it to get down to 1,000 feet, so it's going to just basically keep stepping down on all those restrictions, and it'll just gradually get us in. Then we're going to hand fly the thing in when we get to the turn. I'm really looking forward to trying that. Obviously, I've got to do a lot of judgment and try and figure it out myself, so please don't hate me if I get it wrong, but we'll get it all figured out. Just going underneath a little layer of cloud here. You can just see the base of it is almost level with our aircraft right now. Then there's another chunky layer of cloud below all of this, so still a few sort of steps down to make. We're at profile. We're actually at the bottom of the speed here, which is good, so we're going slowly. We don't need to tell the aircraft to slow down at all. You can see some of the islands now appearing before us. I think Madeira is just over here. We go past this island and then we make a left turn there, so yeah, I think we're doing alright height-wise. I aim to get the aircraft all configured once we've done our left turn, just before we get to the 180, so that's when we'll start bringing the speed down, bring the flaps down and so on. Obviously we're not going to put full flaps on straight away. We need to gradually build the speed or decrease the speed when we're in the turn. But before then we're going to get a lot of stuff set up once we've done this little left-hander on the plan. So if I just make sure that's bigger, yeah, look, we've got a little right turn and then a left turn. Going to just a little bit early put the landing lights and seatbelt signs back on now as we get just above 10,000 feet. Seatbelt signs get turned on. Everything else up there is as you'd want it. Don't need to worry about any de-icing or anything. It's still quite warm even though there's a lot of moisture about. Is that the runway there? No, it's just a cloud that's really caught me off guard. The runway's pretty much directly in front of us anyway, Chaz, so what are you talking about? It's down there somewhere. So we're going to be flaps full today. 130 knots is going to be the speed that we are landing at. That's pretty much all I need to remember at this point in terms of what I've got to tell the aircraft to do. We're getting to below 10,000 feet. Got to be above 4,000 there. Throttles go to idle. Ooh, it's built up a lot of speed, so now it's going to work on slowing the aircraft down and then the descent is going to continue. So it's just slowing the descent down to just bring the speed in there, and it's going to allow the aircraft to drop back down again that little bit more. You'll see now, watch the descent rate increase again. There you go, it's managing speed and it's descending. So it's going to balance out sort of dropping speed and the descent, so it's not immediately going to point down. We're still below profile anyway. I'm going to check the height of the aircraft in front of us. Yeah, the 777 in front is at 8,800 feet. Obviously we can't see that, just to reiterate, we will not see the other aircraft. I'm just following their progress on Volanta on my right hand screen and what they're doing. Might tell the aircraft to slow down a little bit further just to be sure. Was there something advisory on the charts, the arrival or anything? No? Here we go, it's in flights. Yeah, we'll tell the aircraft to do 200 knots soon. Just let it manage it at the moment, because if I tell it to change speed now, it'll level out to drop speed and then it'll sort of slow our descent a little bit. Making our little right turn now. And then we'll make the left turn very soon. So we're basically facing the runway now. It's going to be pretty much where we are. That yellow line is where the aircraft is facing. So we're going to basically point directly in the opposite direction of the runway, and then we're going to swoop around to the left and to the heading of 0490, which is what we want for runway 05. Still at 6,500 feet, doing well on profile at the moment and doing well on the speed. For some reason on the map earlier it looked like we were descending really late, and I was very, very worried about it, but we're alright. But this is part and parcel of flying to a new airport. You never know exactly what it's going to be like each time that you come in, so you get used to the procedures of it. QNH, we want 1021. Is that still the air pressure here? Yes, it is. Air temperature is now 23, and it's 20 at 16 on the winds. 23, and it's 020 at 16. So we just changed that. Okay, going through some cloud now. We've just dropped below profile. Now we've lost a little bit of the speed. So we'll give you a beauty shot. Okay, so as you see, we are now making the left turn. We're going to tell the aircraft to come down to 200 knots. We're going to basically manage the speed on here now. I'm going to tell that, right, look, this is the speed I want, please, plane. It's going to start descending decreasing the speed. You can see this little orange mark here. That's when the first notch of flaps is going to go in. I'm going to put that in as early as I can, just so the aircraft's got that little bit more stability and a little bit more potential lift if it needs it. Not sure what LDEV means. I'm going to have to ask Drew. I really hope that doesn't mean deviation of some sort. Once we get past the mark for flaps 1, we're going to bring them in. Airport should be just over to the right hand side. It's just down there somewhere. So we can get flaps 1 in now. Aircraft's doing 200 knots. You can see that the aircraft is going to get to the bottom of the descent there and hit that constraint, then it'll continue to descend. But at about MA522, I'm going to take over from the aircraft and try and manage the descent rate from there. We've got landing lights and everything on, so what we're going to do is put the auto brakes on medium today. We're going to put the ground spoilers to armed. What else do we need to do before we land? I'm pretty sure that's all good, isn't it? Flaps are going to be set, speed brakes are armed, landing gear, yeah, so it's just a case of managing the flaps now and bringing the gear down when we need to. I wanted to put the auto brakes on medium just in case. Here we go, there we go. Right, you can see the airport down there now. You can see where they extended it actually over the water there. 2,900 feet at the moment. There is a restriction of 195 knots here, so I'm going to tell the aircraft to do 180. I'd rather be going a little bit too slowly than a little bit too quickly. We can put flaps 2 in at this point.
2,500.
Thank you very much for that. Feeling good at the moment. The water's reflecting nicely with all the clouds around. Very, very tasty. It's weird when you're flying over water though, because you've not really got any sort of idea of depth or height of how you're getting on. You can see some of the textures repeating, and that gives you a bit of an idea in the sim, but yeah, it's pretty scary when you're flying over water because it's so hard to judge an altitude. We'll bring the gear down and put it into our approach speed. We'll just put it into managed speed once we get to MA522. Get the aircraft and the auto thrust to do a lot of that. I'll just be handling the height and the angle of the aircraft with the stick. The 777s and stuff in front of us that I've seen on Volanta have turned in, but the lead one went really far past and then turned around, and he's let the other 2 come in before him, so it's a bit of a strange one. Altitude constraint's been picked up there. It's got the descent lined up. We're going to put the landing system on, so then we can at least pick up what we need to be doing. I think it gives you the profile on there still, so it's not quite an ILS, but it gives you an idea of what sort of descent you should be on. When I was practicing the other day, doing a few circuits around here, it seemed to do that. I'm so scared. I'm nervous now. Okay, so we'll put the speed back into manage, so it's got a bit of time to still drop the speed. Okay, it's really trying to drop us down now to our VAP. You can see it's got 130 on there, so it knows what speed we should be going down to. When we get to MA522, we're going to put the gear down nice and early, swoop the aircraft in, and we'll go in from there, shall we? So let's check the cabin. Landing gear needs to come down, flaps need to go to full. That's the only 2 things left on the ECAM in there. Going to get to 522. Wow, it really wants us to put flaps full in already. Okay, let's pop them on, put the gear down. Okay. Right then, we're going to hit the waypoint. At least the aircraft has painted this curve for us. It's now my aircraft, everybody. Still going to have my hand on the throttles, and I'm still going to follow the flight director. It's a blessing to have that flight director. He wants us to drop the nose down now. Oh dear, maybe not that much. Airport is just over there. So we're going to try and manage this now. It's definitely a blessing to have at least the RNAV approach in the what is it, the ND? No, we don't want that. We don't want to increase that. I really wanted to zoom in on that, to be honest, but it's okay. We'll just follow the flight director, shall we? The aircraft knows what it should be doing. Those landing lights are interesting. There's some landing lights seemingly in the hills that sort of guide you in. I haven't seen those before. I wonder if that's part of the scenery, because when I was practicing I didn't have the scenery in. I'm going to try and keep talking here, but I don't want to cut up any of the approach or anything. Okay, there's a restriction at 1,200 feet. It's going to probably tell us to level out. I feel like I'm very low.
1,000.
I feel like I'm very low. Is it going to tell us minimums here in a sec? Yeah, we need to then maintain a bit of height. Bring the aircraft over. We straighten up for just a sec. So where those white dots are, actually, we do aim for those and swoop over. We need to drop a little bit more height now. Concentration tongue nearly came out then. I'm really excited for this. Okay. The aircraft is doing a wonderful job right now.
100 above.
Need to start turning. Let's pitch the nose up a little bit.
Minimum.
A little bit. Continue. Feeling alright here. Need to pitch up even further than that. Okay, we're about right now. Now we can start dropping the height. So obviously we told the aircraft earlier we wanted 1,000 feet. But the aircraft is trying to keep us at 1,000 feet. That's what the flight director's doing. So we're coming in a little bit steep potentially here.
400.
Okay, Pappy's 2 white, 2 red. I feel like I'm coming in really hot. Why does it feel like I'm diving down at this? Oh, I don't like this.
50, 30, 20.
Oof.
Retard.
That was a
10.
bit steep. Oh, there is a stepped runway.
5.
No. No, 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 no. That's why you sort your scenery out, everybody. Please don't crash. Please don't. Yes, I know.
Retard.
Oh my god. That's that's why you sort your scenery out. Oh, I'm all embarrassed. Oh, that's ruined it. That's completely ruined it. Oh, you didn't deserve that. I saw somebody say it was a stepped runway, but you could still use the thing. Oh, that's horrific. That is horrific. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm not having any of that, so what I've done is I've sorted the scenery out, I've gone back into the sim, and I've got the aircraft back in the air. I've taken off from Madeira, just done a little bit of a circle, and I'm reconfiguring everything now to come in and do this properly. I'm so sorry to all of you. I'm sorry, Jose, as well, because that's not what I wanted to do. I said earlier that I thought, you know, it might be alright, and I didn't think there'd be an issue, but that was a huge oversight by me, and that was shoddy, really shoddy. So I don't want it to finish like that. I want to do this properly. So as you can see, we're doing everything again. We're just going to get back onto path here, and we're going to follow all this around. We're going to do the same again. I'm going to disengage the autopilot from MA522, get the aircraft in, because I felt like it was a nice descent up to that point. The actual initial landing rate was minus 100 and something, minus 150. So it wasn't even that bad a landing either, the initial touch. But yeah, obviously then it smacked us up into the air. So yeah, we're now being managed by the aircraft at this point. We're going to let it just slow us down. I'm going to try, actually no, I'm going to keep the speed at 180 because it felt like I was going way too slow before. Let's tell the aircraft to do 180 knots. It is going to try and get us down to 1,000 feet again like it did last time, and then we can start to prepare all this. So we'll call up there, we'll get the ground spoilers armed, and we will get the auto brakes to medium as we had before. Like I say, very sorry about that, but we're going to fix this and we're going to have a good time, and we're going to land the thing properly at Madeira. We can get flaps 1 in right now. Flaps need to be full eventually. We will get to that, but we're going to begin our turn very shortly. Okay, turn underway. Flaps 2. Going to get the aircraft to manage the speed when we get to MA522. So the aircraft is trying to maintain 180 knots. I could go flaps 3 at this point, but I'm not going to just yet. There's a little orange mark there that I mentioned before that says we could go to the next notch of flaps. The aircraft is managing 180 knots though really, really well. Still 1021 on the Barrow. I've put the fuel and everything back to roughly what it was at the time as well, so we should be landing with about the same amount of fuel. I've tried to configure this as close as possible as to what we were doing before. Let's now tell the aircraft to manage the speed. Then we can bring flaps 3 in. It's going to try and take us down to 130 knots. Then we're going to bring down the landing gear when we hit MA522, and I will then take the autopilot off. Not seen this before, which is quite cool. Not sure if that's sort of telling us how far away from the path we are at this point. When you turn the landing system off, that goes away. Let's go flaps full then. I'll put the landing gear down now. Don't want to be too impatient with it. Okay, good stuff. So as far as I know, we are all sorted. And as soon as we hit MA522, boom, there we go. Autopilot coming off. I'm going to follow the flight director, hand on the throttles. I'm going to try this again. We'll get this right for you, Jose. Don't really know what to say. Other than thank you to all of you. You know, there's a lot of you who've been watching these flight sim videos that go sort of hand in hand with my air traffic control videos on Tower Simulator 3. And I've had a lot of great advice from a lot of you as well on what I've done wrong and what hasn't quite worked on a flight or what you'd like to see from it. And I do appreciate the feedback, I really do. But I'm glad you've been enjoying this content as well. We do aim to do a little bit more, I do aim to do a lot more on VATSIM as well, because we all love the air traffic control on there, and obviously the more realistic operations of trying to do what everyone else, or try to fit in with what everyone else is doing around us.
1,000.
The aircraft is a bit slow at the minute. Yeah, it's there, just picking up the speed. I need to pick the nose up slightly here. Straighten out for just a sec. Cool. I can tell you that the scenery is working now. The runway is flat. It's not got steps in it. Those, the bits that I had to stop in front of are the concrete beams for the extension of the runway. They'd sort of protruded through the ground. That's what a lot of it was all about. We're coming in now over this right-hand turn. Flight director will tell me to go right any second now. Yep, there it is. Okay, you can see the pappies from here. Got 1 white, 3 red at the moment. It is telling us to bring the nose up slightly, so we'll follow that now. We've got 2 white, 2 red on the pappies. As long as I follow the angle on the flight director, laterally I'm all good. I need to bring the nose down though, we're too high. Turn it in. I'm looking at a lot of stuff all at once here. That feels well lined up. A little bit high though. Just prodding the nose down slightly.
400.
Still prodding the nose down. Feels like we're coming in a little bit hot, but we're not. 2 white, 2 red on the pappies. A little bit low for a sec. Then they all go red. Let's get this right this time.
50, 40, 30, 20. Retard. 5.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Onto the reverses. Auto brakes are on medium, to be fair. They're doing their job. Whoa, we've only got 1 in reverse. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The left one went into reverse, but the right one didn't. Jesus. Dab the brakes, take off the auto brakes, and we'll let it roll for a sec. That was really weird. One of my reverses on my controls clicked and the other one really didn't. How strange. Touchdown was lovely though. But flipping heck. Oh, it all seems so clumsy. But I really, really don't mean for it to be. We're going to taxi along here. We're going to go to Alpha 8. That's going to be our gate, although it looked like, from what I saw a minute ago, it looked like there was a 737 on there. Don't come to a stop, please. Nose light's going to go to taxi. Landing light's going to now come off. Need that overhead lighting on, just so I can see what I'm looking at. Let's get GSX to pick up Alpha 8 as a gate for us. No follow me, please. Ground force. Never knew there was such a dive down here. Seems quite cool. Is that real? Drew? We'll roll in. We've gained a lot of speed by doing that. We've got the... Oh, is it like... It's called like High Travel or something, isn't it? That airline. I saw it the other day. It's called like... Is it Sky Travel? It's got a really generic name. But we can see the gate numbers on the ground here. Alpha 13. Alpha 12. Okay, so it literally just counts down one at a time because, well, there's no opposite pier. We need to do our after landing checklist as well. We need to clear up a lot of stuff. Okay, 9 and then 8 is the next one. Yep, we're going to get parked in here. We'll finally complete this flight, everybody. I'm so sorry about that initial landing, but hopefully I've made up for it. I spent the time to go and get it right and do it again. Here we go. Nice. So we are in. Ah, I stopped early. Come on, let it roll forward. Okay, we're on 0. On the centre line, a little bit to the right slightly. There's 2 of them doing it, which I find odd. And I don't want to overdo it on the brakes. Ready now. Oh, 0.1 and 0.1. That's not too bad at all, is it? Oh, we've actually forgot to turn the taxi light off, so we've blinded the poor sod. Strobe light needs to come off also. Okay, so we'll do our shutdown list then. So the parking brake is on, the nose light is off. We need to also put the APU is still on. I kept it on that time because it's on, so it's fine. So we can turn the engines off. So engine 2 is going to come off, and then engine 1 is going to come off. And then as they come off, we then put the beacon light off as well. We can then get everybody deboarding. Seatbelt sign's going to come off. And the fuel pumps come off as well. Go up to GSX. And request deboarding.
The boarding request.
We need to operate the stairs. They should come up from the left-hand side. And there we go. And that was another fun chartered flight here on my YouTube channel. Thanks once again to Jose Vieira. And again, apologies for that awful first landing with the scenery being wrong. I'll make sure that's not ever going to happen again. But I really hope you've all enjoyed watching this one, everybody. It's been a blast to do this. It may have been the long one, but yeah, I've really enjoyed doing this one, and it's one I've wanted to do for a while. Don't forget, you too can charter a flight via my website as well. There's a small fee for doing so, but at the same time, if you really enjoy the content enough, then it might be worth it. So thanks as always for the support, everybody. Really hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, landing rate. Let's have a look at the landing rate, shall we? Sorry, bring it in here. Obviously, there's no call sign because I just jumped the aircraft back up in the air. 154 feet a minute at 129 knots, over 1G, so not my best work, but still not too shabby at all. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next episode.